You ever have those days where you just don't feel like any of it's real? Like that the world isn't real, that your past isn't real. I'm having a really hard time right now. These new memories are kicking my ass. And I want to believe that they're not real, and I want to believe that they're false memories or something, or that it's just not real. But then my body reacts, passing out, vomiting every day, feeling like there's constantly something tearing me in half from the inside out. I would rather believe that it's not real. And it's like, I want to know if it's real. Like, I want to go to the house and start digging underground and see if I can find the cellar. Like, I see if I can find where a bunch of horrible things happen to me. If it exists, if it's real. But I think even if I saw it, even if it was there, I wouldn't believe it. And apparently that's why people have DID. Like, I get it, but it doesn't make it feel real. It's like, I don't know. Like, I've been looking at pictures of the house and looking at pictures of me as a kid in the house. And even seeing it, it still feels like even that was just a dream. Like, that I even made that up, that like the house never existed and I was never a kid. It's a really weird feeling. And I think because there are people out there that do claim that they have things, different diagnoses, and that they have these traumas that have happened to them that aren't true. And you know what I mean? Like, they're just using it for one way or another. I'm not going to say they're not mentally ill, because if you do that kind of stuff, you definitely are mentally ill. Just different diagnosis. But I think because there's people like that out there, it makes it easier to be like, no, you just have a really active imagination, you know? You must have, I don't know. Because I've even thought, like, I watched Criminal Minds when I was younger, so maybe there was a seed in one of the things that, like, I clung on to, but what happened, Roman, he's getting as close to me as he possibly can, not getting in my lap, because I told him earlier that he can't fit. He's too big. But, like, because people do that, it makes me feel like like I'm doing that. But none of the, like, I've even rewatched movies that I watched when I was younger, like, literally trying to get my hands on anything that I know that I watched, and I didn't watch scary movies or anything. I like plugged my charger into my phone, but I didn't plug it into the wall, which is so classically me, and now I can't get it. Oh, it's because it's upside down. Yeah, there's nothing like it. Like, some, like, episodes I've watched, you know, have these, like what I went through, there's a lot in common, but it's not the same. And it's, like, so out of a horror movie. Like, even my therapist, as I was talking to him, and of course, like, he's a DID specialist, so, like, he knows, like, he would know if someone was faking. You know what I mean? And he's heard a lot, you know, like, he's a DID specialist. You only get DID from severe trauma, so, you know, he's seen a lot. And he, during our last session, because I guess I didn't tell him about the clown thing, and one of the rooms that I was abused in, like, mainly, like, one of the kids' rooms in their house had clowns all in it, and, like, masks, and, like, up on the walls and everything. And I used to be like, there's no way, like, you got abused in a room with clowns? Come on, like, that's such a movie trope. But then I look back and there's literally pictures of me, like, next to the clowns. And you can see, like, the masks. And even beyond that, my spouse has literally been in that house. Like, before I remembered all of this stuff, back then, I, like, still talked to them. Like, I knew something weird was up, but, like, I didn't know what, because I didn't have my first memories until, like, 2 years after I stopped talking to them. Because, well, I mean, I remembered some stuff, like, but I didn't remember exactly what it was until after. And I'm still remembering new things all the time. And I started having flashbacks and stuff when I was 19, and I'll be 28 next month. So that's a long time to be having new memories come up. I mean, it's not a long time as far as, like, statistically, but it's just, to me, a long time. I feel like I'm rambling, but I'm just having one of those times where it's like, this is getting outlandish. Like, it's getting outlandish, and yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get closure, and, like, the sense of, I know this is real, because even if, like, I mean, I don't even believe the pictures, you know, that I have. It's like, it's so crazy. I don't know. It all feels like a dream. And I didn't know the house was kind of famous, but it is now, I guess. No one knows. I feel like if you think like that, like if you've had that, why is it like blurry? If you think like that, you would think like some fucked up shit. That's some fucked up shit. Why would you have that like that? Like that doesn't make sense. But it's like famous. Like not famous like big, but like for our little area, it's like if you look up the shape of the house, it's like the first thing that pops up. I don't know. I think the purpose of this video is literally for me to look back on and be like, this is where you were at with your acceptance of it. So I guess I'll talk about like what I'm remembering, because I feel like that's important for me to like keep logged, I guess, when I remembered what. But right now, like yesterday, I had the memory of there being like a hatch, what do you call it, hatch door. So at the house there's like two, and I don't know if it's still like this, but there was two like sheds, and one of them was on, so there's like a field, it's like a square field, and one of them makes sense, like right on one of the openings where you can come into the field, it's to the right, so it's like on the tree line, not in the way. He used to have a bunch of tractors, and like he bought all kinds of junk. I remember one time I was out with him on a walk in like the woods of their property, because they own like acres and acres, which as a kid I didn't know, but they owned all the woods that we would go walking in, me and him. And one time we ran into this kid that was like playing in the woods behind his house, and he was like, y'all gotta be careful out here, like the junk man is gonna get you. And the kid was about my age, and he was pointing towards the house, our house, and I looked at him and I said, he's the junk man. Like, he's that guy, I think, because you're talking about a really tall man who, it's like a lure the kids would talk about and how scary he was. And I remember looking up at him, and he got the creepiest, most terrifying smile and just looked so pleased with himself. Wow, that was a tangent. Okay, so there was the one, they have the tractors there. You got like 3 at one time or something, like tractors. But then there's this one shed in like the middle of the field. It's like all cut grass in this random shed. And I always thought it was so weird. Like, why would you put a shed, like a smaller shed, right in the middle of the field when you could have just put it right beside the bigger one so it was out of the way and along the tree line? Like, that just made the most sense to me. I don't understand why it was in the middle. And I remember it being opened a couple times, and it was really small, and there was like one like big lawnmower in it, and like I always just thought it was the strangest thing. Well, my memory, and this memory has been like, sometimes I'll have memories where the memory will like come a little bit, like it'll be a thought like, something happened in there, like something's creepy about that, and like it'll flash and I'll see it, and then it'll go away. And that's been happening for months, if not like a year, about this shed. And of course I'm like, that's not, there's nothing, It's fine. There's a tractor, or not tractor, but a lawnmower in there. It's fine. Well, my memory is that if you moved the lawnmower out of the shed, there's a latch that goes underground. And that's where he would keep me sometimes. And he thought he was like a genius. Like, he was writing a book. I don't know if he ever published it, but he was writing a book on how Einstein was wrong, and he was going to prove Einstein wrong, and like had a whole book, and like had been working on it for years, like fully believed that he was smarter than Einstein and that Einstein was dumb and he was going to make a name for himself. So he had a bunch of medical books and would teach me about my anatomy, like talking about my completely inaccurate information, talking about my hymen and my vagina. Like, I remember talking to him about those things sitting on his lap in the living room as if that's normal. And it was. That was like totally normal in my family to talk about that stuff with a kid sitting on your lap in the living room. Because everyone knew. So it was like totally out in the open. Of course, not with like guests there or anything, but just with family. But I remember having experiments done on me, like medically, and they all had to do with my vagina, that I can remember. Like, that's what they're all from, like where they're from. I remember at least one time where I was like brutally raped by a bunch of different men, and he stitched me up, like used the open thingy and like stitched me up, you know, so that I wouldn't bleed out and die. Which I think, you know, there's scarring there from what happened, but also from being like stitched up, I think. Yeah. And even like I told my therapist, like, I have this feeling that medical trauma stuff is about to come up. Like, I just had this feeling. And he was just like, well, I mean, I'm not, you know, I wasn't going to put the idea in your head or anything, but that has been something that I've thought of, is like, that would make sense. And he didn't even know about like him reading or like writing a book, and like he didn't know any of that when he said it. And then I was telling him after the fact, and he was like, oh yeah, like good luck, basically. Like, I'm here, and like told me I could message him anytime, like email, and work out scheduling for a session earlier if I needed one. And then that's the second therapist that said that, because I said before to my other therapist, back when I was seeing both of them, like, that I think I have some medical trauma, but it's just not time to deal with it right now. Like, I can't even handle the memories because I was dealing with the other memories. And so my brain just like put it on the back burner, I guess, until now. But I think because I'm getting all these tests ran on me and everything for my possible blood disorder, like trying to figure out what's wrong, I think that brought up a lot of it. It's so blurry. I don't know why. So yeah, I'm just having a time. A real single time. I'm hungry. Finally, I had to take a gummy. So I'm hungry. But I don't really have the spoons to make food. And I don't want cereal. My kid's asleep. So I'm just here. I might go make some macaroni. I make depression macaroni, which I'm sure anyone that knows what depression macaroni is will appreciate this. But I use one pot and I put some water in it and I boil it, and I only use enough water that it will like boil in it so that there's a bunch of starch in the water. So I like the way it thickens with the cheese, as it's vegan cheese. And it's the kind that like comes powdered, so it is a little bit harder to get like a good consistency. So I throw that in the pot and I add like a slice of cheese to top it off, and then I eat it out of the pot. I feel like that's the best way to eat macaroni. So really all I have to do is like just get up and go sit in the kitchen while the water boils. I think I might do that because I need to eat. I'm so tired and worn out. Thrown up twice today already. I'm just tired. That is one thing about memories and like trauma and stuff, is that it's so physically draining. Like I take a nap pretty much every day now because it's just so exhausting processing and remembering. And I'm not even trying to process. Like I haven't been doing anything to actively process like the different things I do. I haven't done any of it. But my brain is just trying to wrap around like, is this real? This can't be real. This ain't real. It can't be real. Everything's fine. Doing well. Yeah, I need to do it because I'm gonna fall asleep here. It's so calm and quiet. I have my little water fountain going. I have my biggest boy. Him laying beside me always makes me a little sleepy because he's such a sleepy boy. Look at this sleepy boy. Look at this sleepy boy. What a sleepy boy. Alright, I'll talk soon. Bye.